which I
This
just set
conference
up
will now
today.
be recorded.
So I'm actually not dialing in on my phone or scrambling because my main computer failed in the hurricane, and I was trying to limp along on a laptop that wasn't cutting it anymore. So
Wouldn't limp
hopefully
anymore.
this works better. Jim, how are you? Welcome. So we're just for Sally's benefit, we're a group of sarcoidosis patients that are here for each other. We're not doctors. We don't give medical advice. We only speak from our experiences. But I think you'll find that we have a lot of experience and can work through a lot of questions that you might have, or you know, at least understand the challenges that you're going through um, with this condition. So, Sally, how long have you had sarcoidosis? When did you get
I,
diagnosed?
I was diagnosed in '98.
Okay,
And
a couple of years before me.
okay. And so far as fibrosis, it's turned into fibrosis. And I've been having chest pain, so they're trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have it primarily in your lungs then?
Yes. hmm Yeah. I live in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay,
Yeah.
familiar with that. Rocket Country?
hmm What else? Yeah, just trying to get to the bottom of these. I wore a heart monitor for 7 days, so waiting on the results for that. Because they tried to say it was my lungs, but my lung doctor said lungs don't hurt. So the heart doctor, they did see my heart is enlarged and I do have premature beats,
Okay.
but I don't, I don't know what else is going on, but it's something because I get those pains going and coming.
Right.
So,
So
mhm.
both Jim and I both have cardiac sarcoidosis
Me
and have
too.
been through, and Kathleen, sorry.
Oh,
And so we've been through the diagnosis process and all of that. I guess we've each arrived through different pathways, but um, do you have any questions about what to expect moving forward with a potentially cardiac involvement?
yes. How um, how did you? Well, I am on oxygen
Okay.
too, as well. I'm on oxygen, so um, I'm on 2 liters, and I need it mainly when I move around and when I sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you all experience any chest pain, or how did you all get diagnosed?
Kevin, you
Jim,
want
you
to go
want to go
first?
first?
Or Jim?
Um, so Sally, I got diagnosed with an X-ray. They found a nodule in my lungs, and they did a biopsy, and it came up negative. But then I had a PET scan, which is when they inject you with radioactive fluid, and the sarcoidosis lit up around my heart and one of my ribs and something else. That's how I got diagnosed.
Were you having any symptoms other than,
Yeah, AFib and irregular heartbeats and the whole works.
yeah,
Yeah, so
Hmm
it definitely affected my heart rhythms. And I have bradycardia, which is that my heart beats too slow. My resting heart rate was 37, and they were
Hmm.
very worried about that.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so just to give Sally the whole 9 yards, right here I have an implant on my chest, which is uh, it's a defibrillator actually, but it also monitors my heart 24/7, and it also regulates my heart so it doesn't go below 50.
Hmm.
So I don't have any dizziness or any problems anymore. I mean, it's quite normal. So while I have the floor, I'll just tell you the whole schmear here. Um, that's a joke. In, in May, I have an appointment with, I have a specialist at Kaiser who specializes in sarcoidosis, and he and I have been working. You both know I was on prednisone for a year, which was terrible. And then I switched to methotrexate. And I just, for Sally's benefit, this group was wonderful in helping me go through that and diagnose what to do. And they put me on a low dose, and it apparently wasn't enough. So I'm on 20 milligrams right now, which it's a cancer drug, and it's actually not that much, but I'm going to have a PET scan in a couple of weeks, and they don't want to have too many of them because there's a lot of radiation involved. But they're going to see if things light up again, and if they don't, um, they're going to try to reduce the dosage of methotrexate. Um, I don't seem to have any side effects from methotrexate. I had side effects galore from prednisone.
Yep.
So I'm very happy with, I think the rest of you didn't tolerate methotrexate very well, but it doesn't seem to bother me. So I want to take
Well,
less, more. But,
Yeah, I was
and
on that, but it didn't do anything to help me. So I'm on Plaquenil and prednisone, 10 milligrams of prednisone a day, and Plaquenil, but that don't seem to be helping either.
so, Sally, when I was taking prednisone, I started with 60 milligrams. And, I'm sure Kathleen and everybody else knows that, you're going along feeling quite normal, and then you just go cuckoo out of nowhere.
yeah,
And it was
that's
totally
fair.
unpredictable.
Yeah, Dr. Jekyll
Yeah,
and Mrs. Hyde.
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. I've been on a high dose too.
Yeah, can't
So
even
I
help it.
know.
You see the train coming in and you're gonna crash it and you can't even stop it in your
Yeah.
mind.
Oh
Dang
God.
prednisone.
I mean, the anger that I had is horrible.
With the prednisone, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Roid rage is what I called it.
yes, yeah.
So
Um,
how are the rest of you doing with your medications and stuff?
you want to go, Kev?
Sure. I just uh, back to Sally's first point. I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis uh, back in 2010. They missed a biopsy in 2004, so that was really the first sign. Everything was quiescent and normal for 10 years. I had a motor vehicle accident in January of 2020, and 3 days later went to the emergency department with malaise and fatigue, and ended up I was an AFib. So they did a heart monitor. I wore a heart monitor for a week, and that didn't go well. We did a stress test. That didn't go well. So they kept digging, and they did a cardiac MRI, which is a high detail image of your heart. They actually take a video when it's pumping and get a lot of information about that. But it did no indication of why I had AFib or all these arrhythmias. They did a heart catheterization, which was an outpatient procedure to go in and see if there was any problems with the veins or anything. Everything came back normal, and then we went to a PET scan. I also had an ICD implanted, an implantable cardioversion device, so it'll shock you if you get a really bad arrhythmia, and will pace you if your heart rate gets too low. But the really nice thing is it's constantly monitoring it. So if anything's going a little awry but coming back, you have these short runs of tachycardia or premature
So,
heartbeats or whatever. It just
so
monitors that.
Kevin,
You start to get the data.
oh, excuse me. Kevin, I have a question to ask you about that. What you're saying, do you have to have that? Because I don't have it in my heart. I was just wondering, do you have to have that replaced after a certain amount of years in your body?
Yeah, so every 6 months I do a check-in with a doctor and they read the data. And one of the things they're always looking at is how much battery is left. And mine's been in for 3 years and it still has 10 and a half years left. So they put a really long battery life device in because I was so young. So they
Yeah, I
do
just want to add that I also have a 10-year battery, and I've had it for 3 years, and it's still 9 years, they said. And just like Kevin, I get a complete readout of my heartbeat for the last 6 months, every 6 months.
Yep.
It's a wonderful tool.
Right. So what they're looking for with me is what they call the burden rate. How many of your heartbeats are irregular? And they monitor that over time. And, in the past 3 years, it's gotten better and better and better. And I went through my prednisone, had my meltdown and the roid rage, and um,
Oh,
ended up on,
did it get better because of the device you have in you
no,
or
no,
the
it
medicine
has nothing to do
taking?
with therapy or sarcoidosis. It's strictly around monitoring your heart. When you have the sarcoidosis in your heart, those granulomas can interfere with the electrical conduction system, and you end up with like loop arounds or whatever. You have a heartbeat and you get like three in the bottom chamber, and they call that tachycardia. Or it goes to beat and the bottom chamber doesn't fire on time, so that's a premature contraction or whatever. It just messes up your heart rhythm. The biggest thing I have right now is when I exercise, I feel like my heart gets irregular. So I have an appointment in June. I'll follow up with my electrophysiologist. On a good note, my cardiomyopathy doctor, that's the one that looks for heart failure, is firing me. I have my last appointment in June
Good job.
because my ejection fraction has recovered enough that I don't even like qualify for cardiac therapy or anything like that. They're like, you're good. Keep doing what you're doing, which
Okay.
is working out a lot more, moving as much as I can, getting my 10,000 steps a day. I ride my bike wherever I can and keep my stress low. And that's been working out pretty well for me.
That's great. That's good news,
Good.
Kevin.
Yes, I'm very excited to fire him.
Absolutely. And fire him for a good reason.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Sally, I'm Kathleen. I also have sarcoidosis, definitively diagnosed in 2010. Started out as skin, lung, now heart, lymph nodes, kidneys, liver, brain. Um, I don't have a defibrillator like Jim and Kevin. I have a loop recorder. So in 2020, right before everything blew up in the world, February, they put in a loop recorder because they saw the POTS and they saw, tachycardia and stuff like that. But they didn't feel that I needed a defibrillator yet. I'm still on prednisone. I went off of prednisone. You all know that. I went off prednisone in January. Unfortunately, I'm back on it. So I had a really bad March. I got that virus that was going around. I actually landed in the hospital. I was dehydrated. It was 3 weeks. No sooner did I wasn't even done the dehydration, then I got upper respiratory infection that put me down as well. And I don't know where I'm getting everything because I don't go out there except for doctor's offices with my dad, and I still wear a mask. So that turned into a sinus infection, and I'm still a little congested, but I'm getting there. So I'm about 80% right now. I was really bad last month. So, but we're coming out of it, and I got to change up the team. My pulmonologist, so when I got the upper respiratory, it's a quick story. It was on a Wednesday. Thursday, I knew I was seeing my pulmonologist for a regular visit. So I was like, I'll just see him. So I go there. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you. I've never seen you this sick, blah, blah, blah. Gives me an antibiotic, high dose of prednisone, and inhaler. The weekend, I started feeling like my chest was so tight. I knew I needed a breathing treatment or nebulizer treatment. So I sent a message to the pulmonologist, hopefully Monday morning you can get me in. I can come in for a nebulizer treatment, blah, blah, blah. They didn't call me. I finally called them. They're like, oh, well, yeah, you can come at 4:00, but you're going to see the nurse practitioner, and she doesn't really know that much about nebulizers.
Oh,
So I said, well, make the appointment. And I called my local MD 365 and I said, listen, I'm sick. Doctor diagnosed this. If I come down and you feel I need a breathing treatment, can you give me a breathing treatment? She says, absolutely. Come down right now. Wonderful. So I went down, had a breathing treatment. And I find that, so I don't know how you guys are, but it seems like all my doctors are reactive instead of proactive. What do I mean by that? So the pulmonologist, I have sarcoidosis. I've had upper respiratory infections before. I've needed the breathing treatment before. How come I don't have a nebulizer at my house? Just asking, because here's the thing. The MD 365, I saw the PA. She gave me the breathing treatment. She ordered me the albuterol at home, the liquid, and she ordered the nebulizer. So now I have it at home. But how come a pulmonologist can't do that? I'm just asking. It's so
I
frustrating.
One at home until I was in the
I used
hospital
to do
in
well
DC.
now, urgent care to get a treatment because my doctors wouldn't do it. And I asked the doctor there why I don't have one at home, and she said they won't give you one for home. I'm like,
Huh?
wow, why?
I got one. It's sold over the counter too. I put it
Yes.
in towards my insurance, but it's $54.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm very happy that I have it.
how
What's
did
And
that,
you
when
Wendy?
get
I
it?
have,
he had COPD, he would need regular breathing treatment. So there was a nebulizer with the
Yeah.
albuterol. He had a
Hmm.
couple other things he would put in it.
Yeah. My
Good thing
mom
that
too.
he got lung issues. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
I
works
have
so,
two.
I mean, it works so much better than, just using your albuterol. It just instantly goes into you. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you don't need a doctor to write for the nebulizer, but you need a doctor to write for the nebulizer medication. So, um, I don't know. I would suggest anybody who's had bad allergies or upper respiratory infections to have your own nebulizer at home. So I'm very happy that they were proactive. And I think I'm going to make them my primary.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
you know.
Is
So
it,
Wendy,
I
do,
mean,
do you want
it's so
to tell
hard to change,
Sally?
Kathy. It's so hard to change doctors here. It just can't happen. You're
I
lucky if
understand.
you.
Yeah. No, I find another dodo head and then hopefully they know a little bit about it. We're all dealing with the same thing. Not many doctors understand about sarcoidosis,
No.
and we're actually teaching them. Every time you go to see them, you're actually teaching them. But I'm
Hmm.
tired of teaching. That's why I'm getting grumpy.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I'm really sorry that you are back on the prednisone. When I saw you talking about it and stuff, I was like, oh wow, because once you get off it, you never think you're going to go back on it, and you went back on it. And my question is that because of your heart, you were in the
No,
prednisone?
mainly the inflammation. Now, I don't think you were with us 2 months ago, but I had mentioned that I was being looked at for IVIG infusions.
Yeah,
Um,
I knew that though. I don't know if I
so,
read it on your.
but I had to go to the hematologist. So and have 27 vials taken from me. So here's the thing: my inflammation is so high, regardless of the prednisone, leflutamide 20 milligrams, and Xeljanz, that I'm at danger of throwing clots. So no IVIG for me. 6 months later, she says, go see your rheumatologist, get them to lower your inflammation. And 6 months from now, maybe you could do IVIG. So I got nothing right now.
Mm.
I'm up the creek without an oar. Remember that saying?
So they're
So
saying you
when
need to get your
you don't
inflammation
have
down.
nothing,
Yes, my inflammation is through the roof, regardless of the medications that I'm taking. And that's my fight with the rheumatologist. If I've been on a specific medication for 2 to 3 months and my inflammation has not moved, the needle has not moved, why am I on that medication any longer? And he's
Linda,
like, well,
Right.
yes, Jim.
I just wanted to know, how do they measure your inflammation?
Oh, from your blood tests.
I
Right.
think they
Is there a
use the
marker
sedimentation
or?
rate.
Yeah, there's an ACE level, there's a C-reactive protein.
Oh,
The hematologist, I'm serious, it was 27 vials. There was an IgG, an IgA, the list was like pages and pages.
hmm.
Thank God I had
And that
drank
was
water.
downstate. And you did that in Long Island area? You didn't go
Yeah,
to Albany?
no, I went to Quest Labs. So the hematologist is you can find any good ones at the cancer um, places that are all around. That's where you find a good hematologist. So I went to her and I understand, but I broke down because Remicade hasn't worked, methotrexate hasn't worked. Um, I don't, IVIG, I was hoping it was going to be the savior so that I can be somewhat out of pain. My body feels like someone beat the living daylights out of me.
So, Kathleen, I'm really concerned. So, is is the problem with the heart, is this inflammation affecting your heart?
Of course. Yeah, it sends you into POTS, which is the post. Go ahead, Kevin. You know this one, POTS.
Is that when you stand up and you get dizzy?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you
And go
change your
bump.
body
Yep.
orientation, you
Mm-hmm.
right back down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
It happens because of your heart.
right.
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 So you stand
But
up, normally your heart rate will increase real quickly and support the blood flow to the brain so you don't pass out. But sometimes it just goes, meh, whatever. And then you have no blood flow and it's bad.
you're on the ground when you wake up.
So
Yep.
my question is, guys, who's the best? I don't have it in my heart, but I just, want to know for you guys, who's the best heart doctor for sarcoid?
So there's two sides. One is the cardiomyopathy. So what they were concerned about when they found the sarcoidosis after the accident is, did it get set and cause scarring in the heart? And because when I showed up and they started doing all the tests, my ejection fraction was low. It was in the 30s, I believe.
Mm.
And over time, with working out and walking and riding my bike, and it slowly started to recover, but there's still some scarring in there, and they weren't sure which way that was going to go. And the other side is the rhythmic side, the electrical wiring, electrophysiology, and they're monitoring the heart rate, the type of heart rhythm you have, and making sure that that stays on a good trajectory, that it's not getting too bad. Because one of the things I found out in October, I went into ventricular fibrillation, passed out on a tennis court, and it shocked me back, and I was fine. Thank you. It was wonderful. Um, but if that happens again, then they're going to have to look at my driving license and removing my driver's privileges, because if I'm driving down the road and this thing happens, you're no longer in control of your vehicle.
Mm.
So I was fortunate that it was appropriate therapy, which means it should have happened. But there was a lot of explanation for it. It was right after the hurricane, and everything was upside down. And I just wanted a normal day. I went out and exerted myself and was dehydrated, and this can happen. And it was a good wake up call for me to like kind of get back to the self management that I was doing, that was helping me through the day, through the
Mm.
week. Proper nutrition, meditation, exercise, not stressing out, stress management stuff. And, I just dropped all that and kind of leaned into digging out of the hurricane and figuring out what's going on, and it had a toll.
Yeah.
So Kevin, didn't you say that was it your father that had problems with his heart or your
Both
son
my
or
parents did. That was more alcohol related. So they both had AFib. My mom died from it. My dad had a AFib for several months during the pandemic. but we couldn't get him to a hospital because they wouldn't admit him because he didn't have COVID and whatever.
Mm.
So, well,
Because
actually,
my
they took him in and told him he was an AFib, and then put him on the COVID ward
Oh
after
my
we had
God.
to go jump through hoops to prove that he didn't have COVID, so he could be admitted to the hospital. We were like, "What the
wow,
actual?"
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
so
gosh,
my brother's a
that's
doctor, and he called the hospital and kind of read them the riot act. Like, if you don't dismiss him and he dies, we're going to sue you. So
wow,
we're going to pick him up at 2 o'clock this afternoon and have him ready. And
Oh
I
my
took him
God.
home and nursed him back to health, and he got another couple.
wow, yeah, wow.
It was
So
crazy. That was really hard time. I mean, looking back on it, like just being diagnosed with cardiac sarcoidosis, the pandemic's coming out, my dad's sick. It was
Hmm.
like, and like every couple of days, you're like, "Are you better yet? Are you better yet?" Like, nope, not yet. Hang in there.
Yeah.
I think you guys are champions, all three of you. Well, maybe Sally too, we don't know yet, but that is very scary to be shocked into almost like being resuscitated by this
Oh,
Hmm.
thing that's
absolutely.
in you.
I was going to die.
And
My heart was
then
out of control, and it went
that's
whack, whack.
something to go through that could, I
I
mean,
just
it
woke up
has
on
been a
death row. Like, what
continue.
happened? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look at yourself, Wendy. I mean, from where you first started, now you're doing support groups near you. You're trying to bring people, help people with sarcoidosis. So, you know what? You've entered into the realm as well as an advocate. So we're proud of you as well.
Yeah, to be honest with you, there's not very many people like there is in Long Island.
Right?
For
Well,
some reason, we don't have a lot of people here.
Because
But
9/11 was in.
they always say you could always go downstate near Long Island.
yeah, but you're still doing it and you're still pushing ahead. So I'm very proud of that. It's wonderful watching you on Facebook and stuff like that. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. You know,
You're
we've been going through this for so many years. And I know that I've actually helped two other people, and I was going to tell you guys, one of my friends that I made here, she won't get on any of these um, programs. She's very positive and she's an educator. And her mother had it in her heart and her lungs and passed
mm,
away from it. And now she has it. And now her daughter has it. So
oh,
that's why I was asking Kevin, about the genetic link. Because there's nobody in my family that's had sarcoidosis.
right. Nor mine, to my
Or
knowledge.
mine, although my mom may have. She had
Nor mine.
Sally, what?
fibromyalgia,
Nor mine either.
Mm, I'm sorry, Kevin.
but I'm the first to be actually diagnosed. But she had a lot of inflammation and generalized pain and fibromyalgia. Woohoo! It was a cuckoo diagnosis, but it's part of the journey.
It is.
So we don't know if she had it or not, but it tracked with a lot of what I know now.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I can't go ask her.
No, no. So what have you guys been doing for Sarcoidosis Awareness Month?
Oops.
attending
Ooh,
these, attending
oh,
these sessions.
you didn't say oops. What was that, Sally?
No, since our group here in Huntsville dissolved, I haven't been doing anything because I can't find any of the old members from the in person group. Well, the virtual we don't have a virtual group either. So
What hospital do you go to, Sally?
Huntsville Hospital.
Do you know if they're a recognized sarcoidosis clinic?
No, they're not. Mm-mm. The closest one would be in Birmingham.
Mm.
So there's also a regular FSR support group meeting for
Yes.
chronic sarcoidosis, which you would definitely, you've been dealing with it for so long, it's, by default. Um, that has some additional, it's a little different format than this, but
Hmm.
I found that to be helpful at times too. I think there's actually one tomorrow.
It is.
Double dip
Oh.
on
Yeah, tomorrow.
it. 6 p.m.
Yeah, I won't be there because I'm turning a building purple.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that
Yeah,
in
great.
the chat if you want to copy that down.
But
I'm gonna put the FSR link.
okay, great.
Okay.
So they have two. This is the second Thursday of the month group. There's
Hmm.
another one like the fourth Wednesday or something. They have like two time slots set up, but it's the same topic every month. They do something different, but their two sessions are identical, so they don't want you going to both. So they're just providing different days and times for people to be able to hop on.
That's great.
I have a question for Kathleen in your comment. What are you doing this month? Are there people who are undiagnosed with sarcoidosis? Sarcoidosis?
Of course there are, unfortunately.
Yeah, and is that a big population or we don't know?
Well, I would have to say that the population is larger than those who have been diagnosed, if that makes any sense.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because most people, they may be getting a little out of breath walking up a hill. They don't really sense anything.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, you
and
can discount half the population because guys don't listen to their bodies anyway. And then the last thing I want to do is go see a doctor and talk about
okay,
it.
as Kevin said, at least I didn't have to say that.
I'm
Now,
throwing us under the bus. Sorry, Jim.
there is a lot of people without it. So one of the reasons that I always wear my purple pin, which is always on me, and during this month I'll wear purple consistently. Usually at doctor's offices, I have no problems walking in saying, "Happy Sarcoidosis Awareness Month. Do you know what sarcoidosis is?" And they're like, "No." Great. You're going to have this pin and I'll give you a quick synopsis. So I do it all over the place. I don't care if I'm online. Somebody's like, "Oh, you got purple hair." Yes, that's for sarcoidosis. Because it's inside, I wear it on the outside. And then we get talking. So I
Nice.
try to help as many people as possible. A lot has happened on Long Island for me. So I'm an island unto myself. So we really don't do walks any longer here or in person support groups. So this is the way I'm able to support. I don't care if you're a dentist, chiropractor, makes no difference. I'll talk your ear off. It's just the purple, and walking into a doctor. If you have a doctor's office tomorrow, just for argument's sake, urology, because I have that on Friday. Happy Sarcoidosis Awareness Month, and we just move from there. So I do try to advocate and teach people, and they look at me and they go, "Oh, you don't look sick." Thank you. I spent 2 hours trying to get myself to look like this, and they're like,
So,
"Oh."
Kathleen, since you had those buildings lit
Mhm.
up, have you been told that any news people are going to do anything on it? Have they
And
corresponded with you at all, or are they too busy?
actually, because I was sick starting March 9th, all the way to just recently, I did not reach out to anybody, but next year I will. So that's a no, but I will next year.
Has anybody been to any good online presentations on sarcoidosis?
Nope.
No.
Well, I went to the one where they were talking about the one that doing the Tyra. Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're
yeah,
doing clinical trials right now.
yes. So it's in the third phase of
Hmm.
trial.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounded pretty good, but they still talking about it's a long way off, even though it's in the third and last trial.
Because then
That's
you
for
got to get
Kinevant,
other
right?
companies to line up behind
Yes, I think
this.
so. Yeah,
Sally, that was that for Kinevant?
I think so.
Yeah, I did a speech to them in the city January, and they were interested in our fatigue of sarcoidosis and how it's changed our life. So
Oof.
I did do the speech there, and it turns out um, it's a sub company of Tyr, TYR
Mm-hmm.
company.
A-tire,
Um,
right?
yeah, yeah, and the CEO of Kinevant has a mild case of sarcoidosis, and the fatigue is the worst with him. So we discussed a lot about the spoon theory, and I had them do the spoon theory before I walked in. So all of them were out of spoons already, and it was only 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I have that picture of you.
You do?
Yeah.
Sally, do you understand what spoon theory is?
No, I don't.
So when you're going through fatigue, one of the analogies that people use to try and explain it to other people is you wake up in the morning and you only have three spoons of energy. You can use it for your laundry, you can go shopping, you can clean the basement, or do something else. Pick three because you don't have spoons for four. So it's kind of a way of prioritizing what you spend your energy on because you may run out of it. And
Right.
different days you have different number of spoons. There's no algorithm for it. It's just it's a way of trying to manage yourself and not do too much
Okay.
when
Yeah,
you're
I
in a
had one today, so I just
fatigue.
cooked. Uh-huh.
It's
Okay.
it's also a way of acknowledging that you
Good
should give yourself
accomplishment.
grace when you're feeling
Yeah.
fatigued and listen to your body.
I,
Mm.
I, that was an accomplishment because I can't even cook dinner. I get so exhausted.
Yeah. The exhaustion is real, and
Oh, it's a tangled mess because
yeah.
some of it comes from your medication, some of it comes from the disease process, some of it comes from the deconditioning of being sick, some of it comes
Mhm.
from, and it's just all like the sleep interruption with prednisone, and yeah,
Yep.
it took me a long time to untangle it all and get back to a point where I was partly functional.
That's a good
Yeah.
way to put it, untangle it all.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
mess. Like I had so many medications that were like some like, oh, this one could cause GI issues. This one could cause GI issues. Like what's causing it?
And
Um,
weight gain, everything with weight gain.
um, I, I'm the
Yes.
exception. I went on
Yeah,
40 milligrams of prednisone and I lost 50 pounds.
you are an
Oh my.
exception
Yeah, I'm a
because
little weird.
even after stopping prednisone, the fat that went into my back, I can't lose it. It's like, oh, it's disgusting. I don't even want to go. I want to go get liposuction or something to get it out. It's like
So I've
stuck in
heard
there.
fat, I've heard inflammation. There are things you can do lifestyle wise to counteract that. And one of the things that has helped me immensely, I believe this to my core, is I practice intermittent fasting,
So you
which
think that
means,
will get the fat in my back that's
oh
stored
yeah,
in there
oh yeah.
for
When
prednisone?
you're fasting, you're burning fat for energy. Your body's switching over into ketosis, whether you like it or not, and it will continue to burn fat. The challenge is we've been trained for years. When I'm
To eat.
hungry, I eat, or I'm going to die.
Hmm.
But you're actually not going to die. So I don't eat from like 8 p.m. all the way till like 1 or 2 p.m. I give my body rest.
Oh my God.
I drink coffee in the morning
Oh my God.
with
No way.
butter, with butter
No
and
way.
coconut oil.
I'm fat to do
And you know
that.
what? I'm never hungry, and it's the best, least amount of brain fog I've had in years.
Hmm.
And I've lost 25 pounds since I've come down here.
That's great.
So you have just coffee?
Coffee with butter and coconut oil because your brain runs on fat. And when you're in
Oh.
ketosis, fat's a good thing because your body, it's energy. But
Well,
when it runs out of the
why can't
fat,
I
you,
have a piece of cake? Because that's a fat. I
no,
can.
because that's sugar.
It's
Oh.
sugar and a
So
carb.
you put it in the coffee?
Hell yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Or cake.
fabulous.
I
Or
can't. I
tea.
don't.
Yeah, or tea. So the
Yeah, that's
coconut oil has all your medium chain triglycerides. Your butter has another spectrum of fat, and your brain loves them.
mm-hmm.
I,
Oh,
I had to unlearn everything I learned about nutrition and the food
Yep.
pyramid because it's all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for me, my arthritis has decreased, my weight has decreased,
Well,
my
that.
joints are feeling better, and I feel I have a lot more energy. And
okay.
I've been free to exercise and do things that are good for my body. That was a
So you have a window from 2 to 8. That's the only time you can eat.
Yeah,
Yep,
but you
and
can
I
And then
eat
eat
what
anything,
time?
whatever I want.
And then
whatever
what
you
That's
time do
want.
it.
you go to bed?
Vegetables, lean proteins, leaves, the rainbow. I eat all kinds of stuff that I never ate before, and I've been doing better. I'm dropping. I, I was on 14 medications at the
No, I
worst of it,
believe you've done it.
and
I
now
can't.
I'm on three.
I
I take
can't do it.
Plaquenil for my arthritis and my sarcoidosis. I'm on um, metoprolol for my heart, but when I fire my cardiologist, I'm going to stop that. I've been tapering. And the other one I'm taking is Celcept, which is a immune modulation drug. It replaced my prednisone,
Okay.
and I've been able to taper that
I
down
lost a lot
to
of weight
one
on
pill.
Cellcept.
What's that?
I lost a lot of weight on Cellcept.
Oh, with the GI issues. So there's two,
I lost. I lost a lot of weight on Cellcept.
right? Because it messes up your GI, and you don't feel like eating. Um,
So you take the Plaquenil help your arthritis too?
yes.
Oh, okay.
So for me, I have arthritis in my shoulders from the motor vehicle accident, and when it healed, it didn't heal
Mm.
properly because of all the immune stuff that was going on. That's my theory, and it jives with all the data. Um, and right now, it's variable. So like if I sit for 20 minutes in a chair and I go to get up, I hobble for like 30 seconds till like things warm up a bit.
I
And when I get up in the morning, some mornings it's like I almost have to crawl to bed, crawl to the bathroom and back to bed. And with the Plaquenil, it loves to hang out in the ankles because it's like the lowest part in your body. So
mm-hmm.
that tends to collect there and just hang out and wait for the next party. So the Plaquenil, for some reason, helps that,
Okay.
and it's
Maybe
also good for pulmonary sarcoidosis.
right.
So it's kind of like a double shot. You
Mm-hmm.
get one for free. Um, so yeah, I was on a mission to taper off all these meds because I knew it was poisoning me.
Mm.
And
Right.
it's been 3 years, but I'm down from 14 to three, and soon two.
That's good.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
And Wendy, oh,
Sally, I
go ahead.
just want to give you a quick uh, thing about Kevin and Kevin. I've been with them for a long time. I don't know, 2, 3 years, something like that.
Hmm.
And I have seen them both really in bad shape. We didn't see Kathleen for a while. She was so sick.
Yeah,
And, Kevin and I were one of the few people that kept in touch. And, you know, it was one thing after another with him. And I just have to say that the positive reinforcement that I get from them, like even today, is that, it's not it's not a death sentence,
right.
but you really have to work at it, and you have to try, and you have to listen. And these people give really good advice. So I just wanted to let you know that these kind of resources are as important as a good doctor to me. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
they fill in all the cracks, and they
You're
they
so
really
right.
give you, yeah.
Thank you, Jim. Very
Well,
sweet. Wendy, I just wanted to mention about the intermittent fasting because I did start it. When Kevin was talking about it last year. Um, so I'm at about 16 hours now that I can go without food. So
Wow.
what I've actually seen is, you know how you have a stomach right underneath, excuse me, gentlemen, right underneath your breasts? It's that little
Yeah.
Yeah.
hump that comes over. Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I see
Especially
that.
when you're over
so,
the day.
so they call it a watermelon belly. I never
That's
even knew
what
that.
that.
Okay. I, what it happens is anytime you eat, it actually pushes out. As you do the intermittent fasting, I'm not going to lie, like if you're done with your snack at 8 o'clock tonight, try not to eat anything until about 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Just keep adding time. You will get there. And believe it or not, by the time you hit the 16, all of a sudden that watermelon belly is going flat a little bit. It's not totally flat,
Wow.
but I still have a little bit of a over, but it's starting to flatten. And I'm not doing any exercises. I can't walk at this point, at least very far. So really, I'm a couch potato. Um,
Yeah.
just don't tell yourself you can't do it, because let's talk about it. You go to bed at 11 o'clock. I go to bed at 11, and I'm usually up by around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm up numerous times, but that's beside the point. I try not to eat until lunchtime. If I'm hungry, I will have something like a vegetable or a salad or something like that to hold me over. And then sometimes I mess up and I'm eating my last meal at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I find those are the days that I really feel better in the morning. So you can do it. You can just start small. Always remember, you just keep going up. You got this. You,
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely give it a try.
yeah.
Yeah. Cause
Okay.
I'm usually in bed by 9:30, 10.
No.
A
Yeah.
bit of a
So
mind shift because I was always taught breakfast for kings, lunch for queens, dinner for paupers, right? Eat a big
Mhm.
breakfast, lots of eggs and
Yep.
French toast and you know,
Energy.
yeah. And
Mhm.
I used to eat oatmeal every day.
Oh.
mm,
Big old bowl of oatmeal with applesauce and honey and cinnamon and it helped to like fill my belly. It lasted for a while, but after I finished digesting and using all that energy, I felt worse.
Mm.
mm-hmm.
So it took a while to figure out, but
Yeah.
it's a lifestyle change.
It
It's
is.
Yeah.
every time
So
I
when you
open
first
my
did it,
mouth,
guys, when you first did it, did you have trouble sleeping? Because that was the problem. For some reason, I'd be up all night when I was trying to do the fasting.
well, you
I'm
I couldn't
I,
figure it
I
out.
didn't have a problem sleeping because I was fasting. I had problems
yeah.
sleeping because I was on prednisone or my
Yeah.
mind was racing as a side effect of the prednisone. I'd be up at 4 in the morning on my computer trying to figure out what the hell happened. It
Hmm.
was awful.
Yeah, Wendy, I didn't have a problem either sleeping. I There were a couple of times at the beginning that I remember I was ravenous. So literally what I would do is have something small to eat just to settle into my stomach, so that and eventually I got better that I didn't need that.
Hmm.
So, like when I go to bed, I take some of my meds.
Hmm.
So is that counted as eating?
No,
No,
Mm,
no. And you're taking it with water usually anyway. So I believe me.
primarily when you talk about eating, you're talking about eating carbs.
Oh,
So like when you're doing coffee with fats in it, that
Mm,
doesn't break your fast. It doesn't count. So
right,
it's
but I didn't
kind
go
of
smoke.
purists would say you're cheating. Fasting is nothing but water, but I'm like, I
so
don't
I
I
can
care.
eat.
have coffee
It
with
feels
milk in
great.
it?
I love it. You can have coffee all day. No cream. You don't want cream in
Milk?
your coffee anyway.
What about milk?
No milk.
Mm-mm.
Oh
Butter.
gosh.
Butter gives you the milk flavor,
And coconut oil.
and the coconut
mm.
oil
Oh,
gives it this luxurious, creamy, smooth.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't miss the coffee,
my
the
cholesterol
cream in
goes
the
up
coffee.
high when I'm on coconut oil.
Oh, really? From
Yeah,
coconut oil?
told me, what have you been eating? I said coconut oil, and she said you better cut that out.
Hmm. Interesting.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I know my cholesterol's up, but it's because of the
The kind
Zildjians.
you get at Costco's comes in a big jar.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love
Were
it.
you, were you having a lot of it? I mean, if you just do a teaspoon
I,
in your
I
coffee.
was I was trying, they were saying to put it in your coffee years ago, and I can't remember why they were telling you to do it.
Okay.
Maybe it's something with your metabolism. I don't know.
Yeah.
I I know that I did do it, and she's like, "Whoa, your cholesterol." 'Cause I already had a problem, but then it really went up.
Yeah.
Were you on any
And I don't
medication
eat,
at the time?
I don't eat any
Because my
butter.
cholesterol went wild on prednisone. It went
Mm.
Hmm.
from it was like 140, and then it was 290 like a
Well,
month
my
later.
sugar got messed up on
Yeah.
Yep.
prednisone.
I was
Yeah.
over 300. I'm like, oh my God.
Like that's not
Yeah.
good.
No.
Prednisone can lead to pre-diabetes in a lot of people
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they get so ravenous and what they're used to eating is carbs.
Yeah. Well, prednisone does that. All of a sudden, you just want to
Carbs
eat
drive
anything and
your
everything.
cholesterol, not fat.
Yeah.
Sorry to tell your doctor that, but that's been my experience looking at all the experts on it in this century. Ooh, was that out loud? I have a long history with high cholesterol, and for about 10 years, my doctor's like, "You got to cut the fat out, stop eating red meat, blah blah." And I was like down to one steak a month, and I was miserable. And then I went on a keto diet and ate as much steak as I wanted because I was done, and all this fat, and my cholesterol dropped. I was
Wow.
better than my Crestor, and I'm eating all
Mm,
this fat. I'm like, wait a minute. You do the research and you find out, wait, fat doesn't cause cholesterol. Cholesterol
mm-mm.
is when your body pumps insulin to handle your sugar spikes, and
Yep.
that's the cholesterol that you're measuring.
Hmm.
And so when you take a full fat blue cheese dressing that's wonderful and you make it low fat, the only way you can make it edible is to replace the fat with sugar,
Oh,
Mm.
and it'll lead
my
you down the wrong path. Oh, I was mad for years about that. I'm like, oh, it's my body. I'm responsible for knowing what I put in it, so I better
Right.
learn something.
that low fat blue cheese. Ugh.
Ugh.
No, not a favorite. So, Sally, have you worked with the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research?
No, I haven't. The only
Oh.
thing I did was I did the 23andMe, the
Mm-hmm.
DNA testing. I
Mm-hmm.
did that, and it come back with no um trace of sarcoidosis. But now I
Good.
do have G6PD, and I do go to a hematologist at the cancer center here.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's about the only thing I did with the foundation.
Okay.
What is G6PB or whatever it was? Is that a
PD.
mutation?
It's a blood disorder where let me see how to explain that.
Is that rare?
It's not too rare, I don't think. Um, I can't explain it. I don't went a blank.
It's fine.
Because they say
It
that
sounds like a genetic marker that says something.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I wasn't familiar with that. I know there's a couple of I don't know what it stands for, but HLA variants, which means that this gene can go this way or that way depending on how it's expressed, and has a tendency to be involved in sarcoidosis. But
Mm-hmm.
that was a dry hole for me. I did 23andMe and tried to find out, like, oh, this HLA6B whatever, do I have it? But 23andMe doesn't go into that much detail.
Yeah. Did it even pick up that you had sarcoidosis, or you
No,
had?
no.
No, no, it didn't with me either.
That's not what they're testing for. They're just doing a genetic profile. They're looking more for friends and relatives to join up and see what, who else they know in the world.
No, I have enough of relatives. I was trying to get to the bottom of this sarcoidosis thing.
I think as soon as you get to the bottom of one thing, something else happens. So you got to be ready to be on a trampoline and just keep moving.
But I also too with the G6PD, my lung doctor had tested me for it before he put me on Plaquenil because he said if I have that, I may have a problem taking the Plaquenil. But he put me on a low dose, like 100 milligrams once a day, so that I won't have a crisis. But
That's
I
good.
did looked up a lot of information on it, but I can't even remember. I can't even remember. I'm sorry about that, but it's G6PD.
Take it easy, Jim.
Oh, he
Yep.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a hard stop. That's all good.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
He is.
Hey,
He is.
Sally, Sally,
Yes.
how did you find out about this group?
I do have let's see. I think I subscribe to the email or something. And they'll send me when they're having different stuff. And
And
so
You're talking about
mm-hmm.
ANCAN?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and can.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're
Hmm.
already on their distribution list. I just want to make sure because you can sign up, just put your email in
Email.
the text, and they'll pick it up and add you to the list automatically.
Yes,
And
I do get emails regularly.
All right. Well, we hope to see
Kevin,
you.
Hmm.
I just want to tell you real quick. I asked Alexa to do us a flyer, and we could add in the date so that we can start promoting it fast earlier than they are doing it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm going to start
So
putting it in Facebook groups.
okay, so we're gonna get a flyer
That
that we
works.
can cut and paste
Yes.
into
Yep.
different groups.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Alexa
Mm.
said she'll send it to both of us. Okay. So this way we
And
can
I
advertise it.
totally dropped the ball on, incorporating Sarcoidosis Awareness Month in April.
It's
I'm
okay.
like, oh, we should do something like, clever. And then I saw the email, like, oh, cat's already left the house.
Yeah, it already
Left the
left
bar.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It's okay. So at least we'll be able to advertise a little bit more.
Yeah. And
Okay.
it'd be good to, and Sally, if you know any friends that have sarcoidosis, feel free to invite them. It's the same link every month.
Oh, okay. I sure will.
Right. It
Mhm.
was wonderful
Well, it's so
meeting you,
nice to
Sally.
meet you.
Yeah, it was good meeting you all.
Before we sign off, did you have any other questions you wanted to bring up to the group?
No, not at this time. Hopefully, I'll have the reading of my heart monitor
Good.
results by the next time I meet with you all.
Good. Then we'll see you in May.
Okay.
Yeah. Hope to see you in May.
Yes.
Wendy, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for everything. And Sally, I can't wait to see you again.
Okay. I tried to turn on my camera. Are you all able to see me now?
Nope,
No,
you're still
I
dark,
don't
but
see
it's
myself
okay.
anyway.
it's okay. Not a problem.
Hey, welcome to the world of technology issues.
Mm.
Yeah.
Kevin, stop recording.
All right.